Black Op Narratives, Season 2, Act 21, Blowback LEDGER. Reyes stood under the broken canopy on the edge of the container yard. Rain ticking off the steel like a slow metronome. The port smelled like diesel, wet rope, and rust. The honest stink of global trade, the kind of place where lies travel first class, hidden inside paperwork and pallets. He watched a line of trucks grind through the gate. Each one carried something: fuel, food, parts, bodies. Everything moved because everything had to. That was the myth. Now the myth had cracks in it. Season 1 ended with Reyes detonating a truth that the world wasn't supposed to see, exposing the invisible architect behind accidents, shortages, riots, and sudden stability. He ended the lie. But the war didn't even blink. It adjusted. A forklift whined past, carrying a long crate marked Maritime Equipment, Do Not X-Ray. Reyes stared at the label until it felt like it was staring back. The problem was pulling a thread from a system that was. The system didn't always unravel. Sometimes it tightened. He checked his phone. No signal, no surprise. The port had dead zones, like old scars, international ones, the kind you didn't ask about. His earpiece crackled once, then Bishop's voice came through, calm as a verdict. Eyes on, 2 minutes. Reyes didn't answer right away. He was listening past the words, listening for what was being said. Bishop had a way of speaking like every syllable cost money. Behind Reyes, the boys held position in the shadows. Torres leaned against a concrete pillar like it was holding up the roof, a heavy rifle slung and ready. His face looked harder this season, less humor in the corners. Payne did that. Payne took the jokes first. Cruz was lower, closer to the ground, eyes on, angle, and exit. His bodies moved like the port itself, quiet, purposeful, always shifting. He'd survived too much contact to believe in clean outcomes. Nobody spoke. Nobody needed to. They were here for a ledger, not the kind with numbers, the kind with names. A contact had leaked the message through 3 relays, 2 burner phones, and 1 frightened port official who sweated through his shirt just saying, "I shouldn't be here." The message was simple. Blowback coming. You started it. Meet or die. Confused. Reyes didn't like the threat, disguised as an invitation. But he liked ignorance less. A ship horn moaned in the distance. Deep, low, sound that felt older than law. Reyes looked out towards the water. The horizon was smear of gray and barely visible. Sat a tanker waiting for clearance, immense patience, like it could outlive governments. That was the consortium. Not a person, not a villain, a patient machine. The earpiece cracked again. Movement, Bishop said. Left corridor, under the stacked reds. 1 male, no escort. Reyes slid his hand into his jacket and found the small weight trapped inside the linen. A storage clip, sealed like contraband. The last piece of season 1, evidence hadn't been released. Not because he wanted leverage, because some things' truth needed timing. He gave a subtle hand signal. Cruz ghosted forward. Torres shifted his stance, the muscle memory of violence waking up. Reyes moved. He crossed between 2 ship containers, one marked food aid and another one marked medical supplies. The irony was almost funny. Almost. They found the main man in a narrow alleyway between 2 steel walls. He stood under a flickering light. He'd been placed there. Mid-40s dock worker clothing, but the posture was wrong. Too balanced, too ready, like he expected space to go loud. His eyes tracked Reyes immediately. Reyes said, Didn't answer with a name. He answered with a question. Who sent you? The man smiled once, like he practiced it in the mirror. Nobody sent me. I'm official, not part of your world. Everybody's part of my world, Reyes said. They just don't know it yet. The man held up a small envelope, old paper, wax sealed, unmodern, too theoretical. Reyes didn't reach for it. He let the silence stretch until it became uncomfortable. Then he said, if you're here, you're already dead. So talk like it doesn't matter. The man's face faded. The dart worker hummed, seemed to drop to an octave. Fine, he said. You exposed the system. Reyes didn't flinch. And now, the man continued, the system is reorganizing. Like an organism after injury? Cruz shifted slightly behind Reyes, a silent reminder that the alley belonged to them. The man glanced past Reyes, clocking the shadows where Bishop and Torres could end him in different ways. His voice lowered. The AI architecture you hit, the predictive war system. Reyes' jaw tightened. Gone, the man said. Not destroyed, just forced offline. Reyes stared at him. And now? The man said, humans are doing the job. That landed heavier than it should have, because humans were sloppy, but humans were creative. The man stepped forward just like a fraction, careful not to cross any invisible lines. You broke their deniability, he said, so they're changing the rules. No more invisible pressure, no more pure prediction. He tapped the envelope. Now it's blowback, direct, personal, surgical. Reyes' mouth went dry. What's in that, he asked. The man held Reyes for a second, gazed like he was daring him to blink first. A ledger, he said. No money, no cargo, outcomes. Reyes' eyes narrowed. Say it straight. The man exhaled slowly. A list of actions you took, and a list of outcomes they allowed. A list of punishments they already authorized. Torres murmured. Something behind Reyes low and ugly. Cruz didn't move. Bishop's voice came calm over the comms. Truck entering your zone. No lights, wrong speed. Reyes felt the air change. He looked past the man toward the mouth of the alley. At first, it was only a shape. Then the engine note hit, too heavy for a port vehicle, too eager. The truck came fast, blacked out, battering ram with tires. The man's eyes widened. He wasn't bait. He was warning. Reyes snapped his hand up, signal. Cruz moved first, launched it to the side of the wall, climbing like gravity didn't apply to Torres. Stepped into the open and the violence, and you could feel the teeth rifle coming. Reyes grabbed the man by the collar and yanked him hard toward cover. Too late. Trucks landed to the container at the far end and impacted that made the steel wall shudder. Sparks flew. Shockwave punched the alley. The sound was pure, industrial murder. Then the doors of the truck blew outward, not the cargo, with the men, private contractors. No markings, no flags, just clean gear and empty eyes. Hunters, the kind who existed between budgets and headlines. Bishop fired first. One suppressed crack, one body dropping before the brain understood. Torres opened up like a storm breaking. Control burst. Brutal economy. Cruz came down from above, cutting across the contractors with his rear braid. Reyes stayed close to the dock worker, pulling him behind the corner of a container. The man was shaking now, real fear, not a performance. Why are you here? Reyes demanded. The man's lips trembled. Because you came. Wrong, Reyes said. Because they wanted me to. The man shoved the envelope into Reyes' chest in desperate hands. Take it. I don't want it. I never wanted it. Reyes tucked it in his jacket. Gunfire chewed the alley. Metal screamed. A contractor went down, then another, but more kept coming, like the truck wasn't a delivery system for violence. Bishop's voice remained calm, too calm. Reyes, they're not here to win. They're here to record. Reyes' stomach dropped. Record what? Bishop didn't answer immediately. Your response. Reyes looked at the contractor again, the way they moved, the way they drew fire, the way they forced Torres into heavy output and dragged crews into close contact. This wasn't an ambush. It was a measurement, a human-run version of an AI war system, still predictive, just cruder. Reyes felt the old urge rise in him, the addiction to control, to decide, to solve. His flaw. Responsibility gave him the right to decide. He shoved it down. Not this time. Breaking contact. Reyes said into the comms, now, we don't feed them data. Torres barked a laugh that wasn't funny. I thought you bought the party, boss. Break contact. Bishop complied instantly, covering angles. Pulled back like a chess player abandoning a square on purpose. Crews vanished into the maze of containers. Torres retreated, reluctantly laying down just enough fire to keep the hunters honest. Reyes grabbed the dot worker again. Move. They ran. The port became steel walls puddled, cranes overhead like skeletal gods. Sirens in the distance. Port security waking up too late, or exactly on time. They ducked behind the stack of pallets. Reyes pinned the dot worker against the wood. You set this up, Reyes asked. The man shook his head violently. No. I was just supposed to deliver. Deliver to who? The man swallowed. His eye flickered. Reyes' jacket, where the envelope was hidden. I don't know the name, he whispered, but I know the function. Reyes leaned in. Say it. The man's voice dropped to almost nothing. The chair. Reyes' blood went cold. The title, a role, a position that could be filled like ammo. Not a villain, an interface. Reyes looked out through the slats of the pallets into the distance, and the port lights flickered. For a moment, the entire place felt staged, like a board being rearranged while the pieces ran around thinking they had free will. In his jacket, the envelope pressed against his ribs like a heartbeat that didn't belong to him. Reyes, Bishop said in his ear, we're clear for now. Reyes didn't move. He stared at the wet ground, at his footprints, at the tire marks, at the silent logic of the system that had been wounded and decided to bite back. He finally spoke, voice low, steady, more promise than comfort. Season 1 ended the lie, he said. Torres' voice came through with the comms. Then, what's this? Reyes felt the weight of the envelope like a verdict. This, he said, is the war learning my name. He looked up at the harbor. The tanker waited, patiently. And somewhere behind the lights, behind the contract and deniability, behind the humans being running the machine, a chair sat empty or occupied. Either way, it was working. Reyes tightened his grip on the envelope. Move, he said. We're not giving them another data point. And they disappeared into the port rain with the ledger and Reyes' jacket, and Blowback in the air like incoming weather.